Hi all, welcome to another commentary. This one's a 4v4 on Paddy fields. We are playing as the Red 4 and I'm joined in this one by Wob, K-Dog and Uto, and we're playing against Blackbird, Megas, Wartime and Urlau Surgon. People, easy names, come on here. Right, so this one, really good fun game. Lots of attacks in this one on both sides. You'll see a lot of movement, quite aggressive. So, let's speed this one up a bit. I was running Russian Armoured List, and I was planning doing what I've been practicing quite a lot in this map recently, doing quite well, which is an opening attack into Lima. Run up, attack Lima. You can see we're having some debate. Initially I was going hotel and then change position. Now one thing you'll see is there's lots of pings going off also for the other team. Now I'm not sure if they're in comms or not, but if I remember rightly, as we watch this, you see a lot of pings off them. They are quite communicative with each other, and it did feel like at times you were playing against an actual team. So they may have been in comms, they may not, but they did feel very much like they were. So let's speed this up, slow it down a bit. So here we go, this is the opening moves here now. So I'm pushing up the middle. I have basically got some BMPDs with infantry. I am trying out the T-72B for the first time, the Orb 1987, not used that. Got a cheaper T-72A and some A, and my much loved Pondos cheap mortars, 25 points each, smoke, perfect, fantastic. So you can see on the left there, K-Dog's pushing up, his goal's to get to hotel. And on the right, where Wobble was trying a big helicopter assault with Uto pushing up to Bravo, so the idea was to rush it. Unfortunately, Wobble's helicopter assault ran into lots of Raphaels, so we lost quite a lot of stuff there straight off the bat. And again, the enemy comes up quite quickly there. So you can see in the middle, they're quite quick off the mark all the way. So in the middle, he's already reached Lima basically with some links with SAS. And on the right side now, the Wobble's taking an absolute paste, and he's lost most of his stuff already. You can see now the points difference already paying in here. Now on the left hand side in Hotel, well, K-Dog's at that first problem where his commands outpaced the whole Ruddy army, which as I happen of doing. And in the middle, I'm very slowly advancing, very slowly. You can see in the right now, enemy aircraft picking up. This right is very exposed, but Uto keeps pushing forward. I think if I remember right, Uto and K-Dog generally are more conquest players, so they do play quite aggressively. Now on the left, on the other hand, it's going a bit wrong for K-Dog. He is he's had a few units picked off already as he crosses over, and the enemy is quite aggressively kind of pushing up. I spotted the command there as it was coming in again. Quite brave of them, very aggressive for that command, shoving it forward that far in hotel. Now in the middle, I start to form up, and as the enemy troops basically arrive in the middle bit. Now you can see on the right, Uto has been very aggressive, pushing right up, trying to take this town and capture those woods and force the enemy back. And then the left, K-Dog again is moving up to engage with everything across the board pretty much. He's got TAUs, TUMs coming up, tanks and air. There's a serious firefight breaking, but just at this point, a lot of the Japanese stuff's now arriving. There's a lot of nice tanks there, cheap but nice. The grenade and the APCs especially are very nice. In the middle, I'm starting to form my stuff up, move up to attack. Now you can see they've got some lands in here. Again, this is almost a standard open move. I've seen a lot of folk doing the replay, a couple of ATGMs in there, really nice. Gives them whole cover down that way and across between Echo and Lima, a lot of flank. At this point, I spot the Saxons. I don't spot what they are, I just spot there is something coming up in Echo. So I work under the principle that it's probably the airborne infantry. I actually assumed it was the Russian airborne infantry. They've ran up stuff there, so I've started piling stuff in the woods about to form up for this attack. When I see the Saxons, I assume they're dropping infantry off in Echo. And right there, you can see again, he's shoved right up. It has been incredibly aggressive and got guts deep in India already. Whereas on the left, K-Dog has pretty much been wiped out completely. So I stop my initial plan, which is to attack into Lima, and redirect stuff to go basically deal with these Saxons because I don't want infantry in Echo. This is just silly. This was really silly of me. I should have piled straight into attack Lima, because if you look at Lima, there's nothing there. There's one Challenger Mark II coming up, there's some SAS, a Stormer. I'd have romped right across there. So you can see now K-Dog's just desperately trying to engage. If the enemy again, they've stopped. Thankfully, it's the only saving grace, they've kind of stopped there, because the road right now to Foxtrot is open for them. There's a recce helicopter in the way. So I send my BMPs out, get the motor Strelic out to sweep Echo out for the infantry, and I form up a bit of defensive perimeter here. On the right, Uto was shoved right up, Wobbles giving him support and is shoving right into India. And on the left, crickets, nothing, just airstrikes. We're all starting to run a bit of broken arrow and throw airstrikes and napalm anything we can just to stop them pushing over. So here now, I've kind of swept the town and gone, where the hell's all the infantry that I've been looking for? I've had the lost a BMPD to, I think, the Challenger. Again now, yep, spotted the Saxons wobbles, and I've spotted the Saxons. I'm dropping the mortar fire on that bit, assuming that's the APCs of whatever this infantry is I was engaging. Now here we can see on the left at Hotel, they start pushing, they realise there's nothing there, time to push up. And on the right, we've pretty much, on the other hand, swept India clear. In the middle, stalemate, but it's a stalemate that is really in my favour. There's nothing there that scares me. I should be able to push across into Lima, but I've stopped. Now there I've let the T-72 kind of wander a bit close to the front. It's engaging the Stormers that he started pushing up. On the left there, we've seen he's coming, so it's just, you know, broken arrow on the left, all the airstrikes we can getting called in this lot. Again, this is a real good lesson of why you don't advance without air cover. Again, we've actually been really slow to respond because, you know, K-Dog was, I think, on and off the comms a bit, and we were really slow to sort of realise, I think, that we'd lost everything there. And also, we're kind of really low on points. We don't have much in the way of commands out either now. Neither does the other side, but neither do we. So right now, I've spotted the danger here. I've spotted we're getting flanked, so I'm pulling back my BMPDs and my T-72 Ober, and I'm just leaving the front line as it is just now. I'm not pushing anything up. Again, they move a links over, Tunguska gets engaged. I've now turned my mortars to try and stop this pounding, because we've got now K-Dog starting to form up infantry into Golf. A lot of infantry, because there's nothing there. And on the right, where the guys are basically pushing up, and they're stopping because they don't want to push across to here, because they'll just run into a lot of spammed out enemy units. Right, so at this point I'm going to pick the speed up a bit, because it picks up again. So, mortars firing, I'm just bombing anything I can see there, anything to distract. We noticed they'd crossed the bridge, we knew this had happened here, we weren't sure what had been across, but we knew something was across. We also we quickly got eyes on the short arrow as the yak flew over. So the mortars, they didn't really do much damage, not hurting them particularly. They killed one because they're quite weak, although actually the yak did that. But they kept them suppressed. So here now, I'm shoving the BMPDs across, just to try and stop the bridge, to interrupt a flow of reinforcements, because it looked to us aftermath there's a lot more. We thought there was a lot more coming across there. So I brought the T-72 across to cover it as well. On the right again, there's some Fallschirm Jaeger shoved up where they're pushing, and in the middle, stalemate, no one's moving anywhere. So the BMPs have came up, get rid of the first APC, and they're engaging this infantry in the open now with the grenade launchers, just picking them off. In the middle, there's a little bit more moving up, but not much. We're all quite sound. I'm again keeping the mortars moving for counter battery, because you can see now they've spotted them, they're getting pissed off. And I've brought over some AA as well, because I figured they'll see the T-72 and bring out AA. So here again, my T-72, because I'm busy looking over here, my T-72 I've left on the edge of the woods has now engaged the Royal Marines and promptly is blown up by the Challenger 1. Generally, tanks best held further back from the front line. You push them forward when you're being attacked. So, but because I'm not looking, that's died, and these Royal Marines are now starting to sneak across. You can see I've rolled up another T-64 BVI here, just as I'm putting it here, because I'm not sure where it's going to go. In the middle there, I pulled back my BMP-1Ds. They're starting to run out of fuel, they're damaged, they've done the job, they've slowed the attack, we've managed to secure here now. We're feeling okay a bit about there. On the right hand side, the enemy are really quite aggressively shoving stuff into this wood block here. Jaegers coming up, Fuchs, there's a lot of stuff they're getting in here. We knew there was stuff there, we didn't appreciate. You'll see as the game goes on, more and more stuff goes in here, and we really didn't appreciate, I think, how much was there. And on my side, they managed to sneak some badly damaged Royal Marines right up. Now, if that was me, I'd have just left them there to cover that road and pick stuff off. But they push it up again, quite aggressively, popping out the woods here. Got T-64 BVI rolling round now, coming in as a reinforcement, because points are low. Points are still really low for us. We've got a few extra commands out, but not a lot. And you can see on the left now, they're pushing up. We spot this new line of reinforcements coming in, so I have to start turning the mortars to it. Now here's a Mi-24P I brought out to support this side, and I've now pulled over the middle. And it kind of spotted the Royal Marines. The Royal Marines ran away as well from it as it moved away. And I start running everything away from that area, because I don't want to run into the Royal Marines. Cameo in Hood. No idea. Robin Hood. I have no idea what that is a reference to. So again, I start bombing over here because I think they've still got stuff here. We start bombing this bit because we think they've got quite a lot of stuff here. We assumed they were advancing a lot more aggressively than they did. Now again, if unfortunately we missed it, but I think the T-64B ran into the Royal Marines and killed them quite effectively. Now here again, they really do a very good job of infiltrating this woodline. A lot of stuff now here. There's a lot of stuff, but it's also a lot of stuff sitting doing nothing. So we can see now in Delta, the enemy's heavy artillery's opened up. They got pissed off about mortars, and they've brought up some heavy art to try and counter battery them. And hotels became a bit of stalemate. We're starting to get across. Now here, ironically enough, when they said no attack please, just at that moment of time, I was like, shit, they're going to attack across there. Because I would be in real trouble if they did, because it's quite a nice covered bit. If they pushed up to that wood line, it could cause me problems. And a lot of the time, I'm not, again, you look, I'm really lacking recce. I'm terrible with this. I've been doing it recently. I used to be quite good at recce, but recently I've been really, really bad at rolling up recce. And here I'm really struggling. Like, I see units moving, but I don't have a clue what they are. So having that, thankfully, you can see now the T55 recce, I called quite a lot of that out and have that rolling up. And again, they've shoved forward this APC, which it's a good APC, I think. The Shaki, is it an APC or a tank, that one? It's actually a tank. Wouldn't have really shoved that forward. Dies quite quickly. Again, Uto, we've started rolling commands out now because we realise we're outpointed. So Uto's rolling the command up. And again, more stuff going on here. Here's our cleric now on the right hand side. The middle section, because I'm not pushing, they're not building up defence. This is quite an important one. And on the left, they're starting to reinforce hotel. So at this point now, you'll see me start to get some ATGMs out, because I'm still realising I'm quite exposed in Echo. Not got a lot that can stop if they do a heavy tank push there. Yeah, I've got a few tanks. I've got the T64 BVI in the woods now. I've lost most of my BMP-1Ds over time. Now, Wobble's managed to get a T80U on here, and it pushed up, get some shots, and I think he actually keeps it there for quite a lot. You can see that's one of them saying he needs recon in these woods. Again, lots of communication with them, which I thought was really good. The A-tank, they're talking quite a lot about what's there. I think that's brilliant play, because none worse than when you're playing with a public group and no one does that. You can see I've brought the MI6 up to refuel the MTLBs, because the amount of counter battery, because you're constantly moving, they actually do run out of fuel. It's quite surprising. Now here again, the wood, loads. We shouldn't have been allowing them to build up this much, but what the hell they're doing with all there? Yeah, is Uto at this point has gone, shit, there's quite a lot in there, and then we spot the cleric. So the cleric suddenly sticks its head out the woods. It's like, uh-oh, there's quite a lot there. We expect an attack to kick off at any moment. Now, especially, they're doing well considering we've got stuff in these woods. Now here, I've spotted the SES coming out the woods. Off go the mortars, bombing them and quickly moving. A lot of the time I move the mortars before they actually finish the fire cycle even, because if the enemy's starting to counter battery, if they're on it quite quickly, you could be in trouble. So now I've got some just guided missiles moving up again, because I'm aware there's that bloody challenger there and I'm worried he's going to cross. And here they've pulled right back from this front line hotels. Hotels became just a bit of a no-go zone with everyone starting to build up surrounding it. And hotel is in this map. Hotel's a real interesting one. Very rarely does it get captured or held securely, because there's nowhere to hide a command. To secure hotel, you literally have to push the enemy off the river. Again, more stuff. Like, we've got a distinct lack of generally heavy artillery. I don't know, we've got some Smerchies up now, which is quite good. And you can see here now, I've got T-72As coming over. And are they mine? Yep, there's some BMPDs. I'd saved up quite a lot of points, and that's my helicopter coming back that was off repairing. And again, I'm going to pick the speed up a bit for a while here, because it starts to slow down again. It's kind of stalemated. The cleric shoved its head out, got shot off, flank shot, died very quickly and efficiently. Here, Smerch wasting a scimitar, because we were just totally underestimating how far forward they were. Or sorry, overestimating. Now here you can see I've got the T-72s and the BMPDs here and tanks coming and air support. And what I'm doing is I'm forming up here now. I've pulled back. Now I'm sure this flank's secured. I've pulled back the stuff that was there. I've started forming up for an attack. This is basically going to be my staging area. I've got the cargo trucks here to refuel, so as I build stuff up, refuel, but I'm aware they've probably got a bit of stuff in here, but I was hoping, because we'd had the fights down the left and we're pushing in the right, they've not reinforced here too much. That was my hope. So I was like, I'll form up back here outside and start building up for a proper push. Now here, for some reason, they start smoking here, which confuses the hell out of us. No idea. No idea why they're confusing. Now, this is an interesting one again. They say no way there's a Tunguska there, and they roll the Tunguska over, so that doesn't end so well for them. The smoke, no idea. We've got nothing here now. I've pulled all the tanks back. You can see again, here comes the Smerch. Is that a Smerch? Yeah, we Smerch, kills the Scimitar at last. And again, push down Hotel. Here they come. Okay, aggressive. And here on the right, again, just sitting in the woods. All this stuff in the woods, not going anywhere. So they push up, but that very quickly kind of takes it. They realise quite quickly there's going to get a bit of a pound, and there's TTU there, there's BMPT, there's a Tunguska for any aircraft. They're not going to get much across there. Again, with the suicidal rushing of stuff across, it's a tank, don't waste it, and it's about to also run out of fuel. It had next to no fuel left, so it was about to run out of fuel over the other side of the bridge. It's one of the things, obviously, this is why I always refuel at this point now. My tank's looking quite tasty. Yeah, quite a lot of stuff here now, and I've got the MI6 repairing, but I'm not prepared to move yet. I'm bringing up more mortars now, because I'm aware now to get across here, this is going to take a lot of smoke, because I figure at this point, I know they've got this wood line here, so there's just going to be some serious flanking fire, so it's not just about smoking these woods, it's about smoking down the lines, and actually getting a corridor across. Again, Hotel, they've pushed us back a bit. We've only got a couple of tanks holding that bit. We spotted the Challenger 2 at this point. I'm like, oh shit, I don't want to move, so I don't want to send my tanks over where there's a Challenger 2. And then Uto's bringing up some recce here, and I've got more mortars, and now the smoking begins. So I've got like 8 of these buggers up now. They're great wee things. Now at this point, Mega's left the game. No idea. Mega's the one that basically spend the time sitting in a ruddy wood. No idea. So I start with smoke, and immediately they counter bat. They start batting, dropping fire in front of the smoke. Good idea, but I'm not moving. Now I've called my allies to smirch that goddamn wood, and I've started print smoke, and I know it's going to need a lot of smoke. Again, they're standing jets. Try to stop. Now I've started forming up my attacks, so I've got some cheap tanks and an empty BMPD at the front. I'm moving them up to the woods. I've got the now more expensive tanks forming up here, and then the infantry and some AA spread out. So now, time to sort of start moving up. I start shoving forward the cheaper stuff that I'm just pushing forward, because I assumed there was quite a lot in these woods. The fact that they turned and ran straight away caught me off guard quite a bit. So I just started randomly morting the woods, and I'm pushing up basically the first wave of the attacks, backed up by the other attacks, and now here come the BMPDs. So typical, the phone rings just as we get to the good bit. So, yeah, as we can see, the attack's going in. So I will now continue, and I'm going to slow this down a bit. So I'm pushing up, and again, the smoke cover starts to drop there, which leaves me really exposed because I'm on this open ground, so I immediately start whacking more smoke down. At this point, I have stopped moving the mortars as much because I'm too busy sort of managing this lot. The enemy is basically giving the woods up. Was a bit of a surprise. I thought they would stick it out more. I assumed there would be more there. You can see I, again, brought up a ATGM plane to try and get that Challenger 2 because I was really worried about that. Lose the ATGM plane. Not the best move on the planet. On the left here, you can see it's kind of like stalemated now. And on the right, both sides stalemated. So I've managed to get up, and I've got these woods in force. So I'm where I'm here, I'm looking, going, right, okay, there's a command still in Lima. They've not pulled the command back for whatever reason. They've also, surprisingly, not really bombed too much. There's a bit of arty coming in now, but it's kind of, I was lucky, it didn't hit too much. It does hit a bit, does a bit of damage, but I'm spreading out as quick as I can. So here the Challengers ran away from BMP-1Ds. Love that. And again, fuel thing coming up. The Motor Australia kept pushing out, because I know the HQ is there somewhere, so I'm trying to find it. And we've got the Smerches up. We've got 3 Smerches out, didn't realise that. And again, Hotel now starting to push up a bit in Hotel. I'm just trying to encourage the others to push a bit more aggressively so as to distract from the fact I've now got quite a lot of stuff in here. So I'm bringing up some recce as well to just try and find this goddamn HQ section, because the recce in the attack always dies. For some reason, always dies. So I always try and keep at least one behind for the attack. Now the HQ section's been spotted. It's on fire in the Motor Australia. They've spotted the Challenger, but boom, damage is done. HQ section spotted. I see fire coming from here. I see tanks here. I know there's a lot of stuff here now. So speed this up a bit. Here come the mortars on the HQ section, just trying to find out where the hell it's going, pick it off. They managed to stun it. Eventually it kind of dies, and for some reason they move this one remaining HQ section back. Again, here they come with a push, so immediately shove all the tanks forward to deal with that. Dead, no time at all, problem sorted. HQ section gone now. They've got some toes and stuff, they are picking off tanks, but I'm keeping the more expensive ones further back initially. move up when the challenger appears. As soon as I realise the attack's put on, start thinking about pulling stuff back. Actually, I don't. Sorry, I forgot. At this point, start smoking here because I can see I'm getting 80 gems. Then I pull it back. So, just to cover that flank. Immediately at this point, I'm already starting to plan another attack. You can see I've got more tanks here now forming up. Getting them refueled, sending the opponents back to refuel, and another one of them surrenders. Not quite sure why, you know. Game-wise, we are now pulling ahead, but you got 5 minutes, and you know, it only takes a couple of good aircraft, of our expensive aircraft, to die carelessly, and we're in trouble. So again, spotted the javelins now, mass mortar fire, chases them away. So here you can see I've now got other units coming up for the attack. I'm bringing up some couple of T-70Bs, got the mortars refueled coming up as well. And right, here we go. So the mortars, I'm aware there's stuff in here, so just start bombing it with the mortars because I was spawning 80 gems. They're shoving random vehicles forward, not quite sure why. Can only assume it was to see what was there. Again, Smerch is now counter-battering. They haven't been moving stuff, so they did get caught by the Smerch, but it didn't unfortunately kill them. It was just a bit of a shame that. I think it might have killed one, did some damage, but didn't kill them. And the right, this is completely stalemate again, with full of stuff. And it's right next to our stuff, and it's not kind of going either way. So here now, more mortars going in, just kind of trying to soften them up a bit. I'm assuming there's quite a lot in here. And on the left now, Uto starts pushing up to support, because we've kind of secured here now. It's time to start pushing up there as well. Got to make hay while the sun shines. So again, now the mortars start smoking. Now this is a bit unusual. We've only got a minute to go, and I'm like, well, there's quite a lot of points in here. You know, that's a 120 point tank there. That's a high 100, 130, 140 point tank. Most likely could be MPDs. I'm like, you know, there's not as much in it as I'd like. You know, if they got a good round of mortar fire, they could get a lot of points. So I'm like, fine, done the job, gone in, killed some stuff. Let's just get out. So I just basically at this point just pull them all back. There's no point in leaving them there to die to airstrikes. We're winning. And then the left again, he's pushing up a bit, going in the woods. Now at last, sort of, but again, it's not going to make a huge difference at this point. We are in a reasonably comfortable lead, so I'll just speed up and run it to the end here. Not much change at this point. I successfully withdraw from Lima. Bosh, done. It was quite an interesting little game. We got well up in kills, but for a lot of the time, you know, initially we pushed up really well on the right, but we stalled. They pushed really well on the left, but it was only, I think, one guy, so he didn't have anyone backing him up and helping support that attack. Because again, they really kicked the door open. Their attack on the right kind of moved up, but we knew there was only so far we could get, and that was right next to spawn. Whereas on that left, if they'd pushed, if they did someone supporting that success, they could have really made a difference. In the middle, I wasn't happy with my opening, I have to admit. It was a poor opening. I shouldn't have stopped. I panicked when I saw some vehicles. Didn't even know what they were because I didn't have any recce with me. And assumed there was infantry in the town. Whereas now, and if I just went straight into Lima, there was only some SAS there and one challenger. I could have, with the force I had, I could have easily rolled in and taken Lima early game and really given us that dominating position in the right hand side of the battlefield. So rather than just attacking to Lima, later on I could have been rolling right through, trying to get to one of their spawns. So it was a good little game. Lots of toing and froing, lots of little attacks forming up. Hopefully again, enjoyed that one. I did really thought the player on the left did quite well initially. Just a shame, like I say, no support. And on the right, I probably felt we should have pushed a bit harder. We were kind of, the guys were kind of worried about pushing over the river because the enemy would start spawning stuff in to counter them. But on the other hand, if they're spawning stuff in to counter them, they're not protecting anywhere else. So if you're busy, if you've got pressure in a spawn zone and the enemy's trying really hard to defend, that's a signal that everyone else in your team should start attacking everywhere else because they can't reinforce everywhere at that point. So, hopefully you enjoyed that one, and I'll speak to you next time for the next game.